What's up, everybody? Welcome to Council's Corner, where we discuss anything and everything VR related. Today, we're going to be talking about Ramen CEO's interview with Bazwin. We're going to talk about games we might be playing and ideas we've got coming up in the future, and just kind of shooting the bull about everything in general. We've got a new host with us today, Sermaldo. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey there, I'm Sormaldo. I'm part of the Crimson Council on Zenith, and that's where I met these guys. I've been a lifelong gamer, and I'm super into VR. I'm loving it. I'm like in for the ride for sure, and just can't wait to talk about it.
Hey guys, I'm Meta Quester, and I am, again, the guild leader, or one of the guild leaders, to be precise, for Crimson Council. And we are going to be talking about the interview with Ramen VR CEO and have a good time doing it.
Hey, I'm Budo, and we're also going to be talking about just the kind of almost the ethics of how we should be treating, the recording aspect of the social thing with MMOs. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Zay Leakey.
And I'm Kay Leakey.
And we're just part of Crimson Council.
What's up? I'm Kitty. Back again. It's gonna be fun.
Meow.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Bonely. Excited to be with y'all tonight. And the first thing I wanted to do today is tell you about the Crimson Racing League, which is starting soon. We're going to have people signing up for the Crimson Racing League in Dash Dash World. You can sign up until April 3rd on Sunday. By then, it's closed for the first season. We're going to have seasons going for about 2 months each. We're going to have points. And then we're going to, at the end of every season, we're going to give away a free VR game to the winner for up to $30 of a game. And we're also going to interview them on the show. Taken, it's not one of us that wins. But even so, whoever wins will get an interview on the show, even if you're a host. And then whoever comes in last place, you also will get an interview on the show. So you don't get the prize, but you get an interview on the show as well. And the biggest loser will be on the show as well, which will be fun. So I look forward to everybody joining up out there and on the Discord, and it's going to be a blast.
I would say keep it competitive. No intentional losing to get the interview.
Hey, that's on you. You want to suck? Go ahead.
Sucks to suck.
Just be you. You'll be fine getting to that loser spot. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
And real
100%.
And if you don't know what Dash Dash World is, Dash Dash is the VR Mario Kart, okay? Without the scaled weapons. You can't sit in last place and get a missile and just shoot to the first. So there's a lot more skill involved in this game than in that. Plus you're racing around yourself. So it's not for the faint of heart. If you're not good with the motion, might be a little tough on you. Okay? No, it's not for everybody. But you're really in Mario Kart and it's really fun.
You're doing a real good job on
Bonely
selling them on that
suggests.
one, buddy.
Yeah. Do what Bonely suggests and play the roller coaster VR game for 19 hours.
That's right.
And then get in.
That's
The
right.
same
Without a
track
break.
in 19 hours. No
I
problem.
get it. It's crazy. The roller coaster game is crazy. All right. So the interview. What did the people that watched the interview, what did you think, Meta? I know you watched it.
So I felt personally like, so I hope no one hears this and thinks that I'm just being a dev hater, because I'm not. These guys work hard. But I felt like this came off almost like a pre-scripted interview. Like if someone was interviewing Kim Jong-un and they were like, you're allowed to ask me these questions and I'm going to answer them this way. It didn't really feel like any questions were asked that were especially difficult of ramen. It kind of just felt like they were just tossed up there, like really easy questions for them to answer. And even though they were easy questions, it just felt like nothing of substance was said. Like it could have just been like I was reading their Facebook post or something, and no one was responding to the person that was asking the questions. It was just, yeah, that's on the horizon. We may or may not do that. Perhaps we might consider it. Like it
Oh,
just
Yeah, I
felt
think
very empty.
I felt like the only thing that was kind of almost interesting, but then he even said, nope, but that's not guaranteed, is they were saying they might put dice in the game.
mhm.
And so that was kind of, that could be fun. It's just
Yeah.
interesting that they're thinking outside the box. But, and the only other thing that I thought was probably just hyperbole, but he was like, yeah, what we've got, it's only like 10% of what we plan to do in the game. So like that's a pretty ambitious to say that they've still got like that much more to do, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it ambitious, or is it that they just really wanted to say I mean, they're sort of like taking like a dreamer kind of mode with it. They're like, everything that's good in a VR or anything that's good in an MMO, I want that. Yes, we can do that. And it's very important to us. But in reality, you have to know that they've got to be prioritizing certain things over another. And from the interview, it seemed like it might have been one of his first interviews, just because he looked a little uncomfortable out there. Like he just I don't know. It didn't seem natural. Like to Meta's point, it just didn't feel. It felt a little unnatural there. And it's not, like you said, not just because these guys obviously work very hard, but it just didn't seem like a genuine take at what was going on. It was just a very airy, like, yeah, we want this game to be anything and everything that it could ever be. And it's like, well, come on, guys. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I do like the one thing that he kind of said is that, when they're hiring new people, that it's going to take, it takes time to really build them into that team. And I guess they're going to be having to do that a lot coming up with, I mean, that's one of the other topics is they said that they got $35 million. So they're going to be hiring people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And $35 million is a huge cash flow, regardless of who you're going to employ or who you're not going to employ. You already have 15 like really dedicated members to the team, and I feel like that's the kind of money that can really really get people motivated to get some new things pushing and going.
Now, where would any of you guys want the money to be spent? Oh, sorry, Kitty. Go ahead.
It's perfect because you just asked the question I was going to move into.
There you go.
Yeah, with the huge cash infusion they got. I mean, I say huge, but I honestly, in the game developer world, I don't know how much money that is.
That's a very good point.
But just in general, I made the joke. I don't even know if it's a joke at this point, but early on that, hopefully this is one of those Kickstarters that gets bought out by, a big AAA studio. Because, I mean, I really love the mechanics of this game. We've been talking about the locomotion mechanics all week in chat, because now we can't play any other games because you don't have that locomotion that just somehow Zenith got right. Like with every problem they have, and even the fact that flying is glitched or gliding is glitched, that glitch makes the game better. And they really nailed locomotion. And now they just really have to invest in making the lore present in the game, because it sounds like they tried to build lore. They've got, the touchstones that you can kind of hit on, and there's probably a lot of stuff written in the quest, but I don't think I read a single one of the quests. And I just looked at my little quest tracker and it told me what I had to do. So, hopefully they can use the money on like voice acting, get some actual acting in the game. Another thing I know would really make the game better for me is like some kind of body tracking. Doesn't need to be full body like VR chat, but something so your character's not just floating across the plains a foot off the ground. So the bodies are actually kind of animated. One of the things I really liked about Orbis was when you talked, it just did the very simple animation of a mouth opening.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's already kind of got anime styling, so you could do kind of some kind of gimmicky, cheap thing with it, and it'd look better than right now, where it's all just kind of stone cold. But I mean, that's where I would like the money to go, is into developing actual quest lines that are lore specific, and it makes the game feel more fleshed out. And obviously in-game content. I want instances. I want servers that work. I want some kind of anti-cheat software so that these guys that are modding the game don't come in and crash the servers when we're trying to take down the boss. Those are my biggest gripes, and obviously content. But yeah, I'll let someone else talk because I could talk about this all night.
So when he, to touch on what Budo said a little bit earlier, when he said that they were considering, like, maybe, and the way he said it was very much so like, I'm just tossing around the idea. It's not really something that we might do or not. I'm just thinking about it. And they were like, maybe I'll add dice to the game. When they said that, it didn't sound like they were going to make it like a gameplay mechanic, like a rogue type character where it would be like a chance based ability or something. It was just like an item that they were going to put into the game that would be physics based so that players could kind of make their own game up with the dice. It didn't sound like they really had any plans for it. Which was disappointing because when they say that, I feel like there's a lot of things you could do with a random chance thing like dice, especially when they already have a throw mechanic with the orbs. But it really didn't seem like they have. And speaking on to what Kitty had said about how much money really is that in the game developing world, because that's a fair point. That stuff costs money to do and time. I will say one thing that did feel heartening was that he mentioned that he majored in economics as the CEO. So hopefully they have a decent idea of how to spend that money wisely, because it doesn't matter how much money they have if they spend it poorly. They could just gamble it all away with the wrong decisions.
Yeah. I kind of agree with what you said about like the random chance game, and it's not the same concept as like having players create their own games is fun and all, but like you can only race each other and try to cook faster than somebody and try to roll a better 6 every time without there needing to be some kind of competitive method involved. Like you don't just want to throw a dice and be like, I win every time, I'm the greatest, I know how to throw dice, you suck. There needs to be some kind of like reward or some kind of basis for why the game is being played. And like, not just games. I feel like there's so many things they could do. Like they could introduce some kind of pet that follows you around. I'm not going to name drop other MMOs because we did a lot of that last week, but there are a lot of MMOs out there that have pet battling and just basic social competitive things that you can do with friends that aren't instance dungeons and that aren't a raid that requires 10 people. And so there's a lot that they could do, but I feel like you said, we don't know how much 35 million is going to take you. We don't know how far that's going to get you in the gaming developer world. So there's a lot they could do, but it's a lot of hearsay.
So Captain just said into the comments that there already is gambling in game, because if you've ever tried to upgrade your gear, you will lose all of your dust just hoping that lottery pays out. It's so true. I've lost so
That's
much
pretty
dust
good.
doing that.
I wonder why they didn't pinpoint the ninja more, because they kept it really narrow on what that ninja was to be able to do.
Bow and arrow. Okay.
I have a theory about the ninja. My theory is that all the ninja is right now is a PowerPoint slide.
Yeah.
There's bullet points and there's a concept art. I don't think they've done any play testing. I don't think, and again, maybe they've done everything and they're trying to do something with it. I don't know. But it feels, from everything I've read and looked at on it, it feels like it was a PowerPoint presentation someone gave in their weekly meeting and they were like, yes, that's what we want. And that's kind of where it's at.
And
they talk about a grappling hook in a game where The players invented flying. It's a cool mechanic. I love the thought of it. It could definitely make some things crazy, especially if you get like a faster movement from it, or you're able to pull enemies or pull items to you. It'd be cool. But I mean, everything about the way they've talked about it feels like this would be neat to do, not this is what we're making.
I have to be
Well, I can.
honest.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Burnley.
No, I was going
Or
to say
Zach.
that that in the interview, the only thing that he said definitively was that they were absolutely going to be archer, that they would have a bow. So he was definitive on at least that. That was the only thing I think in the entire interview that he was like, yes, that we're doing. Everything
Not
else was a
surprising.
wishy-washy, but the bow and arrow, he was like, that's gonna be part of it.
Which having used the bow and arrow in VR, I'm glad. I mean, that would be fun.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you guys a question. I wanted to pose a question to the group. So, do you feel like, say, 6 months down the line, there's going to be more of an influx of new people if they added a whole bunch of content throughout the storyline? Or would it be more of people that have already leveled their characters jumping back on to see what's going on? Because the way I think about it is that if it's going to be basically taking the community that was there and getting them reignited into what's going on, until they release a new class, wouldn't it make sense for them to focus most of their attention and their money on end game content and on, like just anything dealing with end game, whether it be maybe advancing the levels of the character. So now we have to grind some more and some more end game instances, maybe changing well, I think they need the housing, because that's a big important thing for the end game, because you get so many damn items that's something that the more you play really becomes annoying and problematic. So it would really be nice for them to get the housing going and to focus really on end game more than straight up content throughout, because I wonder how many people will be able to go back and do that until they have a new class.
Okay.
Yeah, regarding Cyber Ninja and the hype surrounding it. So, just a couple things about this. So, first, it really feels like they have no idea what they want Cyber Ninja to be. Cyber Ninja keeps sounding like it's like 3 different classes in one. And right now, the existing classes they have are the most bare bones of the bare bones. You have Blade Master, which is just a sword character, and then you have Mage, which is just the most generic MMO you can have. Like, I'm happy that we have them, but Cyber Ninja just sounds like some guy just like threw something at the wall, was like, and now we're doing this. Like, like it's so different than what they
Cyber
have
Ninja.
right now. Like, exactly.
2 cool sounding words
And
together quickly.
I think that they're stalling because in order for them to continue to be monetarily successful, just like William just put in the chat, he knows where I'm going with this. From a business standpoint, they need to put something in the game that will be able to give them recurrent revenue. Right now, there is nothing like that, unless people are buying the game multiple times for some reason. So because one of 2 things is going to happen when Cyber Ninja comes out. If they don't have some sort of monetary model in place with cosmetics or something, they're going to release Cyber Ninja, and a lot of people who played the game before are going to come back and play it, and people are going to buy the game because of marketing that comes out with Cyber Ninja, and that's how some of that money could be spent that they have. Or only people that have played the game will come back, and almost no one who hasn't will, because by that time some other company will have come out with a new MMO like Alicia. And if no one comes back, then I think that will kind of be the start of the end of Zenith, because they won't have any kind of subscription model. They don't have any reason to bring more things into the game. And even if the game itself does die, the company has no reason to keep working on a game that isn't making them money. They'll move on to the next one and make a new game. That's how I see that happening.
Yep. I hate to say it, but I feel like they should try to implement some kind of not pay to win or pay to play, but like things that you can purchase in game. Like William in the comments said, cosmetics. You could totally, You could totally buy cosmetics that change the look of your armor so that you can individualize yourself. I think they mentioned being able to change body type and haircut and other sorts of things that are character related. But I feel like Kickass just said, we need more ways to customize our character. And you hit on it earlier, Meta, with the whole they're just trying to like throw spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks. I feel like they should focus more on how can we diversify the classes we have now, because right now you can be DPS, healer, tank, swords, or blasters. And I feel like as a DPS mage, which is the only thing I have at level 40, because I don't see a point personally in having all of them at level 40. I just don't have the willpower to do that right now because there's just not enough in game to entice me to do so. And if I was to be able to change up my spells and be a different kind of DPS mage than, say, everybody else, and focus more in like an earth style or a flame style or some kind of electricity style, and just be like a little bit different, you know what I mean? Instead of just being DPS.
I feel like professions would be really great for that because, like with some other MMOs, you can limit which and how many professions people can have, and like per class or subclass or whatever. And so if somebody is a blacksmith of some sort, maybe make that one of the things that they can purchase is like dyes to add to armors while they're making them, and like make it where people can be an alchemist. So those ingredients we've all been gathering forever can be used on more than just cooking, and make it where, you know, if you're an alchemist, you can use cool potions in combat and stuff, have maybe an extra thing on your belt for potions for quick grabbing. And that could be something that would make you different from another character of your same class and subclass.
Yeah.
Maybe make it where you can only have one on each of your subclasses. So when you change subclass, you're also changing profession.
Yeah. And back to like monetizing the game so they can continue a profit stream from the people that are already playing it. I mean, you talk about cosmetics, and one, I don't think people realize how much money nerds pay to look stupid in video games. You give me a top hat, you make it $15, and I'm going to look at it every day and finally go, fuck it, I need a top hat.
Yep, give it
You
to
know,
me.
it happens. I
Yeah,
watch one guy
especially
run
VR.
by wearing a cape, and I go, shit, I don't have a cape. And then I'm $10 out on the cape. I mean, it really is, you know, that's the fastest way to monetize it without screwing anything up. Because if you don't want to do stupid stuff, you don't have to do it, but you can still play the game.
Yeah.
But I think the most realistic way to monetize it is paid updates, where there's a base game that everyone has that you buy. I mean, it's basically your DLC models that everyone uses in the console world. You know, so their next update to get your level cap raised and get access to instances, you've got to pay another $10. That's something really cheap. The game is only
Not a fan.
$10.
That's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, but they're not charging you a subscription model. You're not paying anything else to play the game, and you still have the original game. So
You
with
just
those
admitted that
updates,
the
you still
cosmetics
get.
thing works, though. I mean, why go further and, you know, be like, oh, you can't play the rest of the game?
Because
Let me make it
developing new content is expensive. And I mean, I know they just got 35 million or whatever. I've already forgotten the number. I know they just got that huge influx, but I mean, they're wanting to be a AAA developer. They're wanting Zenith to be a AAA game. And the only way to do that is tons and tons of money. And personally, if they can guarantee a content path, a roadmap to what that money is going to get you, I'm willing to support that. On the other hand, I do understand feeling like, well, I already bought a game. Why am I paying for an update? So, I mean, it should be kind of major content releases or something like if you play Destiny or really, I guess, any of the flat games right now, they do seasons. So, you know, you pay for the DLC and that's 2 years of content guaranteed. And then they do the seasons on top of that where you get drops and crap and everything from that. And then you can pay a little bit more and get the better drops and crap from it.
Are you
What
telling
if
me
they
you're
have-
going to sell me crap in a box? Because, like, I can make that myself.
I'm
just-
instant shards. like where you could pay to enter specific shards, and the shards like were tweaked with the story and tweaked with what's going on, like World on Fire or something, and you go in there and like all of Zenith is on fire in this shard, and like there's different creatures and weird shit's going on, and you can play a little storyline throughout Zenith on this special shard dedicated to this particular instance.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Kitty was hitting on is making content updates where, like, let's just name drop it, World of Warcraft, you buy the game, you have vanilla, and then you play up to level 60, and then you have to buy the next expansion. You can stay in vanilla all you want. There is still going to be people that are playing there. But if you want to move on with your friends and get to the next level cap and get the new gear and do the new raid, it's another $20 for you to download that DLC. And that's kind of what you're saying is like,
if it's robust, I would do it.
One
I mean,
more month
I
payment.
would do it.
Sorry,
Huh?
Bonley. Oh, I was just going to complain because they were getting plenty of money at the time, $15 a player per month. They were already using a profitable business model before they tacked on doing expansions for extra money. It was only one additional payment that they were getting out of that. I mean,
yeah,
But
exactly.
to me, it also draws in dedication to the game. If you're paying for something, an expansion or whatever else, it makes you want to stay in the game. You paid for it. Why wouldn't you want to get every bit of that money, that you use? But that way we know that, as a guild or whatever else, we have dedicated people that are actually going to stick around and play with us versus someone that just bought the game, likes it for a little while, and then dips out on it. So I would go after expansions. I think that's amazing. That would be perfect to keep money into the game and keep people dedicated to playing.
Look, I just sold a top hat to Captain Kickass. I'm telling you, put the top hat in. Put it in this week.
he's got a bridge to sell you
$10.
too, Captain.
That would be kind of cute.
10's a little steep, man. That's a lot. I don't know. 10 for a top hat. You gotta.
Yeah.
Well,
$4.99
they've,
$4.99 for a top hat.
so the road to that is first they've got to create an in-game economy.
Mhm.
We've got 5 different types of currency right now, and none of them do anything. Like, what do? We buy lots of milk. I think that's all we use in
And
for.
make
Tailor profession.
Give me a mount.
Well,
Give me
more
something
drops,
to
right.
ride on through your world.
Oh, we just got a little too NSFW, but sorry.
I'm talking. I mean, a horse.
I mean,
dragon,
but that needs to
Whatever
be
you
carpet,
that just needs to be base game.
a rideable top hat.
A rideable top hat. But yeah, so first they need to develop the currencies, and then they can have a paid in-game currency that you can only use for cosmetics or a special instance or things like that. Because I mean, then you're hitting all the birds with one rock, So you can use that currency to pay your way into a special dungeon that costs actual money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I've been
and
responding this whole time and only just now realized that I muted myself. Anyways, I was going to say to you, Kier, that regarding mounts, so I talked to someone in game about this actually just yesterday. The issue with mounts is everyone fast flies because it's quicker, and unless they make mounts as fast or faster than glitch gliding, people
they would
aren't
have
going to
to.
want to use them. And if they're,
Oh, they
I
would-
don't see how they could possibly make them compatible with glitch gliding.
I
Those
don't
mounts
know.
would have to
Like,
be, they'd have to be able to
people would
move
ride on
3D
shit
space.
just
They'd have
to
to be able
ride
to move
on
up.
shit. People would ride on
I mean,
shit just to
yeah,
ride
No,
they
on shit.
Make it a
would.
They
flying
just
mount
make it
where you
where
control the
you
wings
get-
by also glitch flying.
You get
Yeah,
a
no, that's
basic
actually
mount.
an awesome idea, Stormaldo. 100%. I like that. I also, since I've been muted, wanted to respond to Bonely saying about paid shards. I think it's really critical to the MMO experience as someone new to MMOs that everyone's on an equal playing field. And if you introduce something like paid shards, then you create almost like a classes system for people who may not want to pay for it just to be able to play the game normally. It's one thing not to have a cosmetic. It's another thing to be completely excluded from like the core of the game, I feel like.
I don't know. In other RPGs and other things, there's always been side, like they said in World of Warcraft. I mean, I didn't experience that, but I mean, it makes sense to me to have like specific stories, like side stories or things like that, that you could jump into and take part of that don't take away from the actual game, but it's still extra. I mean, for me to spend extra money on the game that I'm already having, it's like, yeah, maybe a couple dollars to put a cape on or something. But if you really want me to come out of pocket for something substantial, like 15, 20 bucks or something, and it's going to have to be something pretty robust. And that was really the only thing that I could come up with that I think would be
Oh, I gotcha.
of that elk in order to be like, okay, I'd like to jump into Zenith with something crazy happening around the world that I'd never seen before, and then go through maybe 5 to 10 quests at different points in the world, experiencing whatever this little story is. I'm like, I could see myself spending on that as more than any of the other things that we've mentioned.
And
Yeah.
by the way, a mount that doesn't use stamina and flies almost as fast as Flash Flying, I'll take it any
No
day.
stamina.
That's what I'm
Where you
saying.
can get anywhere, give me
Take
that. If I'm going slower, I'm still taking that mount just because, one, it looks cool. It better look cool. What was that, a skateboard that someone was on in
Oh, I want that.
Orbit? Oh, you would.
Yeah,
We're talking
dude.
like, don't give me a skateboard. I want a
A
griffin
horse,
or some
or
crazy
like a
dragon
lion
that's
or something like that. You can
farting
ride
fire the
with.
whole time I'm riding it,
Phoenix.
Hell yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It
But
could
yeah,
totally
Yeah, I
they-
feel
We
like
don't
make
want
it
cute
so
pigs
that
and unicorns and stuff. We don't want phoenixes, and we want something cute and fluffy.
A bear, to ride a bear.
Bear, I'd ride a bear.
Or maybe an otter. Maybe an otter.
So
Care
I
Bear,
would
perhaps?
ride the hell out
Otters
of
are
that
very
otter right
slippery.
there. I'm not
If it's
taking
a bear, can we call it the Kier Bear?
the Kier Bear,
I'm just gonna mute my
it's
mic.
blasting the tank blast the whole time. So, of all the ways to monetize, what do you think is the best way to do it all out? What's your favorite?
Cosmetics only.
Cosmetics.
I think cosmetics is the most fair
Yeah.
way to do it, but then they've got to be pushing out this content that brings new people into the game. Because once I have my top hat and my cape,
What else?
I'm going to
And-
probably use
and-
those.
And speaking of cosmetics, and that was one thing that was actually nice to hear in the interview, was that he said that one of the things that they are definitely working on is bigger inventory and having something of a separate inventory for cosmetics, rather than your regular. So that was good to hear that they're going to actually make the inventory more than ridiculous low amount it is right now.
To me, I think we need more drops though. Once you expand the backpack or whatever else, what are you sticking in there other than quest items? Like, hey, that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
me.
I really liked that.
You said what?
So, sorry, I got something if nobody else does. It's just, before they start expecting more money, I feel like they also need to just deliver a complete game. I get that it's early access, but we paid a full price for this game as far as I'm concerned. And so, like, bugs, there's so many bugs that they just need to finish before I want to give them much more money, like at least for more content, because it's like, before you start giving me more content, finish what you've already got. I want the cooking to matter. I want the godstones to not suck. I want so many things out of this game that are there, they're just not done yet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I think I really want, for cosmetics, if I could get different animations for each of my abilities and I could pay to make it animated, but it didn't change the damage output or anything, I
That
would
would be
be
rad.
all over that. If like my erupting spring looked more like an erupting spring and not just a blue circle.
The main thing this game is missing that every other MMO has: dancing.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So this is all we can do.
Right, that's all we can do.
I'm pretty good at it though.
I'm testing you when we get back in game.
I will make the stripper pull out of smoothies.
Got you.
But regarding the monetization model, which one would be personally my favorite? My opinion is less relevant here because I haven't played other MMOs, but I feel like cosmetics is certainly the most fair. But realistically, if this is an if, but if they were to release say 4 new zones of content that felt not as cookie cutter, but more like they were something a little bit different. I think I might be okay paying for that, so long as it felt like it was enough more of a game to where it'd be worth $5 or $10. But it really depends, because I feel like for cosmetics to work, you have to have a player base that's continuing to play. And
Yeah.
so you can't just throw cosmetics into a game that's dying and expect it to save the game. You need the game to be thriving for cosmetics to work.
And I mean, to go off of that, you're totally right. I feel like, what if they gave you more options to customize, like if you had a guild ability, something that you could use when you're with your friends, and you can throw down a flag, or you can create a little camp for your guild, or you had guild housing, or like, again, back to the mounts, even if you just had a ground mount that was just something that was like a dog on fire, and it was like, you only get that when you're in the Crimson Council, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that is a huge thing in other MMOs, is like just being able to relate with your guild, and like Willen just said in the chat, a guild bank, so that we could all go deposit and like help each other and remove things. And I need carrots, and say Kid has 1,000 carrots. Well, here's 500 carrots. Kier, also I need some milk because I don't have Zen, because I spent all my Zen on flour. Well, here's 500 milks.
Not
I mean,
to
but
mention
that
when it comes
brings
to
us back.
Zen. Just real
Sorry.
quick, Zen and a bank. So has anyone else had the glitch yet where you lose all of your money? Because I had that just yesterday, and I had to reach out to Game Masters and Discord and try to fix it. Yeah, I lost like 150,000 Zen or more.
Somebody else
But
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Captain.
I've heard of it, but not me. No.
It happened to Captain Kickass, and he was very loud
Yeah,
about it.
that's who it was. Yep.
But how dope would it be to be able to tag things as a guild? Like, has anyone here ever played Splatoon on Switch?
Yeah. It would be like, leave your mark somewhere in the
sweet if you
game.
could like mark like textures as a guild, and like it would show you which guilds are the most active. Right away, you'd know which guilds are the most active.
Like you could do it once a day or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But I mean, like, we've left the idea of monetization, which, I mean, it sounds like we're all kind of in agreement. The most fair way would be cosmetics. But realistically, after they fix the game, because I think Link has a really good point there, the money should go to making the game playable and enjoyable. Because we tried to do World Boss like 3 times yesterday. And the first time was horrible because there was, I don't know, 6 different guilds were there, and my frame rate was so bad I couldn't enjoy it. And then the next playthrough, there's like 4 guys that didn't know what they were doing, and we couldn't take them down just because they screwed everything up. I know, you get out of the freaking game. But you know, it's really painful to know that, you know, the servers are so, you can't have 50 people in the zone, but you want 50 people there to take the boss down. And right now, invasions, like, we're all hitting the same shard so we can have fun doing it. But man, the moment those area of effect spells start going and the particle effects start going, the server just doesn't want to keep running. And so, I mean, if they just took a couple million of that and put it right into infrastructure so that they've got good servers that can handle more players at a time, I think that alone would push the player count back up.
Agreed.
Because, I mean, if you could guarantee me that I could get on my preferred server, and I mean, even if you put a queue on it, let me know. I've got to wait 10 minutes and I'll be able to play. I'd rather do that than jump into Crystal for an hour, forget that I'm on Crystal, and try to figure out why no one's playing. Like, man, what's going on today, man? And then finally jump out into Discord because there's no way for me to message my guild in game. Jump out to Discord.
I'm glad that he said they were trying to work on that too, to be able to message in game.
I mean,
You should be able to see if they're online on a different shard.
Everything. Every single thing you said is what they were trying to work on.
We're working on that.
Yeah, you know, we're really working on that. It's very important to us. Every single thing.
Have you looked at their roadmap and the list of things that people are saying they want them to work on, where you can actually vote on the features and stuff you want?
I haven't seen the voting. I've seen the roadmap.
There's some really great stuff there that people are coming up with.
You're talking about
and
the feedback demo stuff.
And exactly. And their reactions to it, the things they're saying. I mean, it's all very positive. I feel like as long as they've got a good team, it's going to be a great game. Yeah. They just, you know, I feel like we're a year behind where Zenith might be, you know, where it's actually, because as it is, I love playing it. And like I said, they've nailed the locomotion mechanics. Like that alone.
Yeah.
Because when we want to chat and hang out, we go in and we do stupid stuff because we like playing it. We could go play poker, or we could go race, or we could go do 100
It feels
things,
fluid.
and
It
instead
doesn't
we're hanging
feel.
out in this game.
Yeah.
So they've got that down. They've just got to work on talent trees, like these godstones. Like, I get why they did it that way. I know they want to do something different, but we just need talent trees. I want to be a fire mage. I want to be an ice mage. I want to be a nature mage. Like,
Right.
you know, talent trees.
Yeah.
Not
they
pick
don't
one or
have to
two
work the-
godstones that don't work, that you can't proc because you can't hit an enemy with your teleport, things like that. Like, you know, give me stuff that makes sense. And yeah, you can interject, Stramaldo.
Okay.
Yeah, go
I just want to give a little PSA about Godstones, which is just that as you're playing through the game, you accumulate quite a few of them if you're not deleting them, and that's something they need to work on in the end. But if you allow them to accumulate to a certain point, your game will stop working properly, and it will make it where you can't join, and it lags like hell when you're in any menu. So if you ever log in and you see like a developer screen that's all super buggy and weird looking, start deleting Godstones, because you're at the point where the game is going to stop working for you.
Yep.
I deleted them for like 2.5 hours one day on my mage, and
Same.
it played so much better afterwards. I can't even tell you guys. So that's just for everybody out there. If you're having
And
problems, try this.
that is good advice. And I know the last update they said they fixed it, but I mean, all of us have still experienced issues from it.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, I don't know much about game development, but I get the feeling that Godstones actually exist in your inventory or something, and that's why all of them sitting there is bogging everything down,
I'm
because
pretty
it
sure they do.
exists and it's activated. It's just not actually proccing on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So the game is accounting for every Godstone you have and what it can do, and then it's going, but don't do it, as opposed to only looking at the ones that are active.
Yeah. Speaking of
yeah.
Godstones, so just a little PSA here is for those of you who don't know, wait, never mind. This could be considered exploiting, even though I don't consider it to be. So I'm gonna not tell people.
Don't
how to
do it if
that.
you think it is.
Don't
Tell us in
advise
private
on
chat,
that.
though. I'm curious.
Can I just talk a little bit about like what Katie
Right.
said? And like, when I log into Crimson now, I see maybe 4 or 5 Crimson members, and I feel like you should be locked. They need to figure out the bugs first, like Link was saying. Get the game to where the game needs to be, and then lock you to like 1 or 2 shards. Because this whole shard hopping, I go to Crimson. I've seen in the Guildmasters Discord so many times. I main this server, but I go to Crimson to kill the world boss. And like our guild can't even kill the world boss anymore because we don't see each other, because it's so bugged, because there's so many other people there. And it's really starting to get under my skin. Like, if you've got a player base and a guild to play with, why are you not just figuring it out with them on your own shard? You're coming to use and abuse our system, get it wrong. None of us are getting the world boss down, and it just feels like they need to figure that out, because it's like, I've played a lot of MMOs, and if you can't just switch servers, you literally have to pay to switch a server in other MMOs.
So
That's the thing that they should get nailed down before they really do anything else. Get rid of the bugs, figure out the server system, lock you to 1 shard. That's it. Have fun. GLHF.
I think they could just incentivize people to stay on a shard. I don't think they would have to make it where it was required. Just make it where you gain a certain percentage more Zen or XP when you're on your home shard. Plus make it where it just defaults the last one you're in to the top of the list. So it's just nature to click the one that you were in last. And, you know, there's lots of ways they could do it without forcing it on people.
There was a whole guild last night that was talking about they had tried World Boss like multiple times on different servers, and they came to Crimson and they said that's the only one that the World Boss works on correctly or like repetitively. And I'm like, what? And they're literally, I'm watching about 3-4 big guilds come in, and I'm like, dang, I'm looking at the trying to log back in, and it's high because we've got all these different guilds in there. And
it's not because the mechanics work on our server. It's because we
do.
work on our server.
Right.
But
Like, and I
speaking
don't
to
I
that
don't want
point-
to trash talk other guilds. That's not what I'm trying to do. But no,
So-
it's because we put so
We
much work
communicate
into
well.
figuring it out and actually taking them out and
Yeah.
following freaking directions. That's
So
So,
to that point,
just to step away from how we
let
could.
let meta hit the point first.
All right.
thank you. I don't have hands, so I have to try to animate with my face when I want to say something. So to your point about shards, when I watched that interview with the Ramen VR CEO, it sounded like they are not interested in doing that for the very core simple reason that they have so many issues right now that if they start having an issue like they did yesterday on Acolyte, where you could hear everyone in the game in global chat no matter where they were, no one wants to play that. They need to be able to move to a different shard that is working. So
That
until
sounds
they have these,
horrible.
oh, it was terrible. So until they have the bugs fixed, there's no way they can lock the shards, and they're nowhere close to fixing these bugs.
And that's the main issue. Honestly, I could care less about shard locking or any of that. They just should focus on internal bug fixes. That's where they should focus all of their attention first, I think.
Which
I
boss
agree
kills
with
were you
Frank on
going
that.
to, Captain?
Crimson runs deep.
We run deep in red.
And to real quick here. So, Kitty, you were saying about the other guilds, right? So, and also Zay. So they're not just coming to Crimson because the world boss is going down. So a lot of these guilds, so like Helping Hand. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, I know Carter, so I always think of
Kaizen?
Helping Hand. The Cookout.
Sachi?
Let me see.
Sachi's gift,
Kaizen, not
maybe?
so much. Sachi's gift,
Okay.
yeah. But
Sachi's
there's a
gift.
bunch of them. But so their shards are being deleted, so they're looking for another home, and they like playing with Crimson, so they were like, we're gonna come here because their shards are literally disappearing. You know how much it would suck if like Ramen was just like, Crimson is no longer gonna be a shard, guys. I'd be like, the guild name, no.
Yeah.
And they even said that they might combine servers, but again, that's why we'll be the council no matter what. Anyways, we can move on.
As long as the servers work, because if we can increase population on a server, it doesn't matter. If they can get servers working consistently, and I mean, it really, population never feels, when it's on high, I still don't feel like there's more than 50 or 60 people on the server. Because I mean, you don't run into people in the low level zones. You've got 20 people in the plains, and then the rest of the people are at the world boss or in invasions. So it can't be much more than 50 that are on a server at a time anyways. But I mean,
I would disagree with that. I feel like sometimes when we've been at the World Boss or we've been at some of these things, it's especially on the plains, I felt like there's been a lot of people there a couple nights.
Where did you see that at?
A lot of people.
I know
Maybe
Kay
More
did.
than 50 in that one location.
75
Oh.
or a beam. I
Kay
would
had
get
said
75
you looked it up, and it was
100.
like 100 people per server.
That's what I would think.
Over
That's
100
what I
per
would
I
shard.
feel like it's 75-ish sounds about right to me. Because
Yeah,
whenever there's
75.
more than like 30-ish people at like endgame content, and you guys know what I'm talking about. If you all been there when there's like a huge crowd, and I would never place the crowd bigger than maybe 30, but I
No,
don't
it's
feel like there's
definitely
enough.
bigger than 50.
I'm saying typically, not there are some nights where it's like a lot more, but I feel like
Yeah.
the rest of the game is relatively barren. How many of those nights have you then gone to like a level 26 area and just like scooted around? Because I bet you there'd
Oh,
be
yeah, well,
nothing
they're all in
there.
one
No.
spot, but there's still a lot of people. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of people in one spot. That's why I was saying to focus on the end stuff, because it seems like everybody's pretty much at that point that's playing the game, just about, unless they're subclassing.
but again, their focus, because ultimately, yeah, you want to make a great game, but you're making money. That's what you start a business for. So
Exactly.
in doing that, they want more customers. They need more people to buy the game. So they need to develop content across the entire spectrum. But we do need some very focused. I know, you talk about getting me to play consistently for the next month. You could have me in every night, if we have an instance dungeon with 3-4 bosses, that each one takes a strategy. He's got a set move list. He's got a set
And drops.
AoE that's going to happen at 3 minutes every single time. We have to plan. You can only go in with 10 people or whatever they want to do. So you have to actually have, 3 DPS tank or 3 DPS mages, 3 sword mages, sword mages. God, I can't talk. But where you actually have to go in with a plan to get through this instance.
Yeah.
If they had one instance, you're talking about 3-4 months of content for someone like me, because I'm going to want to play it every night. I'm going to want to, crap, we made it through the first boss tonight. Tomorrow, let's try to make it through number 2. And I mean, that becomes our week. So the instance resets every week, and then you can do the boss again or whatever. Like, that's what I want. That's what would keep me playing this game consistently. And from there, you make money off of me by, I don't know how you make money off of me, but that keeps me around, keeps me in your game. And that
just give me a top hat and an instance, damn it.
Right?
So I think that their number one priority above all else, if they want to keep this game like rolling with a player base, is they can release new content on new content, but people will get old of the base game at some point if they don't have any kind of competitive act. They either need like PvP or capture the flag, because the moment you have that, you have unlimited gameplay hours. Like,
Capture the flag
that's
sounds so much fun.
like once you have that, people will keep playing every night, because you know what? Maybe they win, maybe they don't, but they're engaging with other people and having fun. Like, that will keep this game going even if they don't release a new area, which they should, but that should be what they focus on.
I mean, right now, to me, in-game content feels like tier hunting. Like, seriously, that's the only thing I have left to do that's any fun.
Yep.
So if
Yeah,
you
but
guys
even
want to
then,
do
you need a wiki map, because I felt like I collected every tier in the game.
So see, what we're doing is we are not looking for maps for it. We're just going out and hunting. Because again,
We
it
gotta keep
makes
the
us
game
do
going.
something in the game. If we know where to walk, we'll have all the tiers and it won't matter. So
It's something to get you back into the lower level zones. Also, I can't stop thinking about professions. If there was alchemy, I would be going back into the lower level zones to gather materials and stuff. You would be playing your high level characters that you've geared up and everything, because you would have to level the skill up and stuff, and so that would take forever.
They have so many pretty zones.
I want to find a rock and go tink 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 tink.
Yeah, but they have so many pretty zones that you have no reason to go back to. Like, I was saying to Kitty one night that Tangled Cove, it looks awesome with like the old temple looking architecture falling apart and the beach side and the elementals. Like, that'd be a great place to play like Capture the Flag. Like, that'd be awesome. Like,
what's the other one? Where's the mistress at? Mistress of Misery? Is that Sporewood?
Sporewood.
Whoever designed Sporewood, if you ever watch this, I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, Sporewood is great, man.
They were like, you go design a zone, Lucy. And she was like, I'm going to give you the sickest zone you ever seen. You ain't never seen nothing like this.
They have a mushrooms dog there.
You just offended so many people.
Giant shallots with like extra spikes on them. You name it, it's in there.
You know, I take everything back. The only thing I want in this game is a spider mob, so that I can be terrified of spiders in VR.
No, they need more than 3 enemy models. You shouldn't have like dog that attacks the same way, it looks different. You shouldn't have regular single-handed blade person that it takes on different forms. So they all have the same animations. The pirates,
Shin 2, Shin 3,
the sylphids,
Blue
they all have the same
Shin,
animations.
Red
And then you
Shin.
have
the NPC.
the mountain giants are the exact same as the tree ants. They're the exact same.
Hold
And
on.
they need
They
another
also
enemy
have the
type.
casting sylphids, and they jump and do their little like.
Yeah, and you know what? The Esomancers do the same thing, and so do the Exiles sharpshooters.
You know what we don't have enough of in the game? Is the girls that laugh at you the whole time and make you feel like you have a small...
that's the Esomancers.
Small blaster.
Yeah, small blasters. Yeah,
blasters aren't big enough for me, son.
That thing is
like right back to Jim.
Right in your ear. I mean, they laugh like right close to your ear.
I agree with Willie and Lorik in the chat about going back to earlier zones just to interact with noobs. It is a lot of fun to teach people Zenith stuff. I love teaching the flying trick, or just being like, oh, hey, there's a tier over there, by the way, if you didn't know. And by the way, I could find almost every chest in this zone if you wanted to follow me.
And again, I mean, it kind of brings us back to that point that the end game content right now is just what you make up and do yourself.
Mhm.
You know, there's no incentive to come back and play every
And
night other
they're
than meeting
aware of
people.
that, and they're banking on it. It really sounded
Yeah,
like
that's
that in
what
the
I-
interview.
Yeah, I didn't like that too when he said that about the dice, because I'm like, it's one thing that we're taking the game and being creative with it. It's another thing, like, you know what, we're not going to do too much with this. You guys figure it out. Go. You know?
That's
It's
my
like, you
point.
do it. Play craps. They just want people to play craps in the corner. We'll be hanging out playing, you know.
What's
Holy
the
crap,
point of
that's all
having
we got.
dice in the game if we can't trade and like gamble our currencies on dice?
Right.
We need
Because they're gonna
trading.
make
Yeah.
a single cosmetic for the game, and it's gonna be dice.
So
And it's gonna
okay, so let's say
Uh,
tomorrow they have this crazy dev meeting and all they want to do is discuss one topic because we brought it up tonight. What's that one thing you would like them to discuss at their dev meeting?
put competitive gameplay in. Hurry
Mhm.
up. Get on it.
competition.
No,
Your competitors
Fix
already
the
have it.
bug.
Orbis has it. I don't care
They're-
about the bugs.
they're
I want
they're-
competitive content. That's
they're
how bad I want it.
aware. They're aware of the bugs. They're working on the bugs.
Content.
I'm sure that's a priority. So you want something new in the game. You
Mhm.
want PvP or competitive
I would say
gaming
the
at
same.
some level.
Just whatever's
Professions. That's
What
my
was
vote.
that? What was that, Link Tank?
I want professions.
Could you explain what professions are?
Oh man,
Stop
I
it,
will.
stop it,
You
stop
just watch yourself, because I'll do it.
it.
So
Why is there
Udo,
no NPC?
No
Yeah,
comment?
no, I, it's hard. I'm
Zen,
like
no comment?
a little bit of what you
Zen,
guys.
you've had enough time to stew on it, Budo. Let's hear about
Yeah,
it.
no, I
Quiet
think
man.
content. It's just like some sort of new content, but and I don't know. I think again, I'm not super into the MMO terminology that you guys were saying, but like instance things. Like I said, I think like is that just something like an event that happens only every now and then?
So
an
instance
instance is where
content.
you walk through a portal and only you and the people in your party are involved in that.
Mhm.
In like, let's just call it an
and
invasion.
it's persistent until
Gotcha.
it resets.
Yeah, and like
So if you kill a boss, that boss is down until they reset the instance.
gotcha.
So
And
you're not
yeah,
having to replay the whole thing every time you go in.
something like that would
So
be cool.
imagine,
Like, yeah,
imagine Queen's Path, that bubble, but like every time you went in there, the snake stayed dead until you killed the next boss, and then the last boss, and then it reset, or it reset weekly. So what would you like to see, Budo? Because we haven't really heard from you. Let's hear about
I've
it.
been quiet.
You're more
tonight.
quiet than Kay is.
no.
Oh, Kay's here. Holy crap. What's up, Kay? How you
Are you
doing?
sure? I think that's a cutout.
I thought that was a teddy bear.
No, I just talked. So what is K thing? I don't know.
Yeah, Kay. Developers are meeting tomorrow and they want to talk about what you say right now. What is it?
More content for sure. I mean, I like all your guys' ideas, but probably more content than anything.
So you just want more shit to do.
Yeah.
We want more shit to do.
Okay.
You'd have more.
Do you
shit
mean
to if
quests?
had
What do you
to go
mean
by
fight
that?
Players.
Even if it's different drops, something that finding something like I've not gotten any type of good drops. Like I always get
Agreed.
damn quest items or gold blooms. I'm not even on that quest anymore. But just something that makes you want to go out and continue to fight random things.
I had level 22 or 25 pants drop that were purple. And it was so exciting. I was like, hell yeah. And then we had like 15 more because we were farming those ghost banshees, whatever they're called.
But then you can
But
go
I mean,
to stations and you can get better gear. So
There's
it's like
nothing like that at level 40. It's like that's the level where
Yeah.
there should be guys
Isn't
that
it-
drop a bunch of purples.
yeah. And that's another.
I have yet to get a level 40 purple drop from anything. People say they exist. I think they're lying. So
I
I have
agree.
never seen it.
Lies.
But yeah, to the content thing, I think I would agree because what I want to see is blade masters that aren't wearing that skull armor and mages that don't have the big poofy hood and the little short skirt and the cleavage on
I
the
kinda like-
boys.
Yeah,
Just
keep the
saying.
cleavage. What are you
I
talking
just, you know, it reminds me of the early days of WoW, where you had the tiered armor, and every single druid you saw had antlers coming out of their shoulders.
Oh my
Every single
god.
mage you saw, you know,
Yeah.
It felt good once you were part of that club, though.
it did. But
Fuck.
what did we learn?
I don't like it.
Like once they came with transmog, all the druids look different. Everyone looks amazing.
How
Like
many years after release did Transmog come out? Like a decade or something?
It
It,
was-
had to
yeah,
be.
oh,
a
it
long
was
ass
it was.
time.
I had stopped playing long before then.
Yeah.
But the concept, like, you know, it's a tried and true MMO concept at this point. Like, you don't lock people to the way you decided the top tier armor should look. Because, I mean, granted, it probably is the best looking armor in the game, which it should
That's
be.
in my opinion,
But-
that's a lazy way to only make one set of top tier armor. You know, like there, make them look however it wants, because that's all they care about. We'll just give it one set of stats. It doesn't let people like, you know.
Captain Kickass says, I agree with the need for customization, but getting rid of cleavage is a stupid
Right.
idea.
Right?
Man.
Who does that?
So, unless anybody else has got something to say, shall we move on to the next subject?
Yes.
Are we beating this to death at this point?
Beat it to hell.
Hey, well,
So,
we'll
yeah.
keep beating it every
We got
episode.
the
We just
point.
got to save some to beat for next
So,
time.
all right. I'm gonna keep the innuendos to myself right now.
Game for in game.
So, what do you want to talk about, Budo?
I don't know. What is it? What do you guys want to talk about next? Because
I got an idea.
Let's talk
Budo's
about
like,
the,
I don't care what we talk about, but I'm
Let's
done
talk about
with
the
this.
camera.
Anything else?
Let's talk about.
just trying to move.
What you got, Zaliki?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking about seeing all of us have tried some different type of VR games. We're not just Zenith or Zenith, whatever you want to call it. One of the things that we kept bringing up was the motion in Zenith being so amazing. Her and I started playing A Township Tale. We loved it. But again, motion sickness. We jumped back in it and I recorded you guys, like, what was it, 12 minutes?
Yeah.
And I was ready to throw my whole life up. It was horrible. Literally and then I couldn't, where I used to be able to teleport and I was okay with it. It felt smooth and great. I can't do it no more since I played Zenith. So it's like all these, Township Tale has a good structure to it. I think it could be a fun game for us to play, because it's a multiplayer, open world. Not a lot of content. I don't know if that's like a thing going for the VR community, is any MMO or not MMO, but open world is not a lot of content.
So standalone VR, these are literally mobile games.
Yep.
It's a game you find on your phone
It's like a phone,
5 years ago. So it's a 5-year-old mobile game. I just wanted to interject that.
Yep.
So
Oh no.
when we're talking about how limited they are, it's because
They
they're
really
phone
are.
games.
So, and we will share the clip with you. It doesn't last very long, because we both got sick off of it. But I noticed you guys were playing Dash. You brought up only. I'm scared because, for one, we're gonna
You
just put
should
the elephant
be.
in the room. I can't
Be
fly worth
scared.
shit anyways, so I don't know how well I'm gonna do driving. But we're thinking about getting into it because you guys are in it. But is there any other
Turn,
that anybody else has played that they'd like to mention?
I will tell you a very funny game that if you just like comedy and like you're brand new to VR and you just want like the idea of being in a virtual world, being able to move your head around, then Trover Saves the Universe is the game for you. That game is hilarious. And it's voiced by Justin
That's like a
Roiland, who's a
pothead, and she don't
co-creator
even
for Rick and
smoke.
Morty. He's hilarious. And you're just sitting in a chair and you actually control another character with your analog, but like you get to watch him run around, so you don't have to worry about like moving around in 3D space too much. You kind of teleport from place to place, but it doesn't feel overly restrictive, and it's a lot of fun. Just throwing that out there for those new to VR.
Smiley, so cute.
Yeah, that
But,
game was fun.
Yeah, but other than that, if you're like into FPSs, like first person shooters, Population 1 is probably my one I would recommend. People like Onward, which is another one. I personally prefer Population 1. It feels, I don't know, it feels goofier, and I
good.
like that. It feels good.
You
But
can't
aside
jump,
from that,
but you
the
can
only
climb
one that
everything.
the only one I think there's like an absolute must-have personally is Beat Saber. If you're new to VR, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's more fun than it looks like if you've never played it.
On
I did the
first
demo and I didn't
person-
like it.
It's
sorry.
Well,
fun
that's
for about
fair.
20 minutes, and then you're like, oh, this is Guitar Hero with like a whole lot more work than Guitar Hero.
See, I played
Oh, it's
Supernatural and I love it. I don't know what women love Supernatural. We do. And
My
I
Just like
played that
wife loves
first.
Supernatural.
And then we do.
They
And
like
then
people yelling at them, telling them to do stuff. I think.
I love it. I love in the music. Yeah, it's great.
Have any of you guys played Space Pirate Trainer?
Just the
no.
demo. Just the demo.
It's pretty fun. I played it on Steam on the Vive back in the day, and I bought it on my Oculus too, just to have it when I travel and stuff. And it is a very fun game for beginner VR people. You're basically standing on a platform, and a bunch of drones fly up into the air and start attacking you. And you've got these two guns that you can change the modes on them, and they each have 6 modes on them. And you can it's basically an arcade style game where you have like
That's what I was
3
gonna say.
lives.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
reminds me of an arcade game, which it's VR definitely can give you that arcade vibe. As far as mine, I have a lot, too many, but so I just realized, not everybody has the PC VR setup, but when I did get that, it was fun to be able to hook my Oculus up, and there's the 3 that I just think are just really like super good. I mean, Half-Life Alyx is just, if you can get that. It's the best VR game that's ever been created. No Man's Sky in VR is wild. That is just unbelievably fun. And then the first time I ever played Skyrim was through VR, which was kind of an interesting thing. I knew it was like
wow.
a super popular game.
That was the first time.
Yeah, my
I'm
first time
so
playing
envious.
Skyrim. It was the best. I've
love
never been
Skyrim.
addicted.
I would have
Never been
loved to
addicted
have
a
played
game
that.
so much. Yeah.
Oh my
It-
gosh.
It felt so buggy to me and weird to play in VR, but I played it God knows how much on console that VR just didn't feel like it felt like an afterthought,
It
because
was.
it
I
wasn't
mean,
designed around
Yeah,
VR.
it definitely
You guys
was.
are making me want to get Steam VR. I'll tell you that.
Do it, man.
Do
It
it.
is
You,
amazing. I
you
love
don't
it.
have a couple $1,000s lying around to toss into the setup?
Cost me a couple thousand.
No, I don't.
And
I mean,
I really don't.
realistically,
that's a negatory.
there are decent laptops out there, and I mean, I'm talking the $700 range that you can get that are going to run VR okay.
And my PC
I
is
mean,
only
what
my
is this,
PC
like
is
an
only
HP?
under $1,000. I got
I've
it
got
under 1,000 in store.
It's like a $700 laptop. It played World of Warcraft phenomenally. But
15 years
World of
ago?
Warcraft
Yeah, it
was
was 10
made
years
to be able to play it on any PC.
exactly.
I can play.
So that's my
That was
whole
the
point
main
is
selling
I doubt that my laptop will be able to do it.
Well, here's the thing: you can do it for free. So download Steam VR, use a link cable, get the Oculus app, and just try it. See if it can handle a game. There's a game called Taproom VR. It's a really small game, so you don't have to take up a whole lot of space in your hard drive, and it is very low.
Low
It's
rent.
not resource hungry. So try that out. It's free. You're not out any money at that point, just to see if your computer can do anything,
Kitty,
and then go from there.
isn't there a VR tool when you download Steam VR? There is a tool that will tell you
Yeah.
what your computer needs to upgrade, or if you're
It'll
at level.
it'll tell you if you can do it, but I mean, even then, there's a lot of games out there that really don't take resources, and you
Guys.
can run them.
So I was just looking on my Oculus app to see what other games I had played, and there's a game that just released for standalone called Knock that looks kind of neat. It's like
the
an
bow and arrow
archery.
game.
Yeah, has anyone else seen that?
No.
What's it called?
it's like
Knock.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, but
It
I
looks
hate
interesting.
doing this.
Is it
all
archery?
day.
Is it archery just based off of the name because you have to knock your arrows
So
every
it's
time?
like what's it called? What's it fucking
Rocket.
Again,
Rocket League, but instead of
Rocket
cars,
League.
you're using bow and arrows to get them in the hoops.
Right.
Wait,
Oh,
what? All right.
okay, that
I
sounds a
love
lot
Rocket
cooler.
League.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
are
you
we
get
playing
the
Doc
Rocket
tonight?
League?
or-
I'll play
VR?
some Rocket League,
I'll
dude.
never take my headset off.
How much are you going to throw up if you're playing Rocket League in VR?
Oh my god.
Oh my
Flips and
god!
everything,
I
yeah,
want to
okay.
get my VR legs under me, and then I want a high-end PC to run Rocket League in VR. That's what I want.
You're
And a
just
big
in there
bomb.
like
So,
Be zooming.
so when it
Shot on
comes to
goal.
good VR
Goal.
games, I'm gonna have to agree with Budo 100% that Half-Life Alyx is the way to go.
I've heard this as well.
A very close second is Boneworks, which it's more of a sandbox style, but it feels a lot like Valve's sense of humor and stuff like that, where you're playing through these puzzles, and it's developed again, ground up to be in VR, so everything feels right. It feels natural, and you're solving these puzzles, physics-based puzzles. So again, it's just a very cool way to experience VR. And then, of course, both of those are PC VR. And then on the mobile world, I mean, the most fun I've probably had is Rec Room, which feels stupid to mention, but I mean, really, Rec Room is if you didn't have 12-year-olds, it'd be one of the coolest things you could do in VR.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, it's full of children, and that does kind of ruin it. But
You mean
a lot
babysitter
of
room?
great stuff to do. Babysitter.
I'm a kid.
The paintball was fun. I played a lot of that paintball
It's
when it first came out.
like getting used to the trajectory arcs of paintballs.
Yeah, and grenades and stuff. That was dope.
My wife thought I was so stupid because I put it on the TV when I was playing it, and she's like, "You're doing paintball again?" Like, yeah. And she's like, "Don't you have like real games to play?" And I'm like, "I do, but this is fun." Like these horrible graphics, like
So
you don't even
I
have legs or
haven't
arms or anything.
I haven't actually tried Rec Room for the sheer fact that I tried
Get out.
VR chat, and the moment that I opened VR chat, I was mortified. So I decided at that moment that Rec Room might be a similar vibe. But can you have like private rooms in Rec Room? Should we do a guild day in Rec Room? Would that be fun?
Totally could.
It
We
would be
totally
fun,
could.
I think.
Wait,
Bro.
Yeah,
like
Rec Room is
absolutely.
free, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
free,
free.
and there's all kinds of stuff in it. It's not just paintball. There's like disc golf. Like there's a lot of stuff. They even have like escape
They have a
rooms, apparently.
population 1. They have so you start out not population 1. What's the where you
Fortnite.
start off with 50 people? Fortnite, yeah.
Well,
They've got
that's
a
new since I
Fortnite
played
style
it.
thing. There's a lot of new stuff. It's a pretty cool engine, or whatever you want to call it, game. But back to VR chat, I think kind of takes us to the last topic we really wanted to cover tonight, which is how VR. No, oh, is he leaving? Someone leaving? Okay. Anyways, sorry, got distracted. Something shiny. So VR is a new reality. It's a new play space, a new universe when it comes to gaming. And there's a few things that have always been present in gaming, which in modern society it's toxic. It's kind of how we view it. And so as we move into VR and this new play space, it feels like a lot of things are changing. And so I kind of wanted to talk about what people's thoughts were on how certain social ideals and things should change, because when we're moving from playing Call of Duty and you've got all these streamers going crazy, so everything you say is recorded somewhere on some Twitch feed. Someone knows exactly what you think about their mother, and it's going to be there forever. And as we move into VR, I feel like it's a little bit different to constantly be recording people or to be streaming from in game. And I just kind of wanted to talk about those concerns, how valid we think they are. I know, I'm in my mid 30s, and I have very strong feelings about people being in my business, what I care about, and things being the way they were 30 years ago. So, but what do you guys think? We've got some younger people, we've got some girls in here, we've got an otter, lots of opinions.
So I think I'm the youngest here, so I'd love to give an opinion on this.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so the thing about it is, if you're being recorded and you're playing like Call of Duty on a 2D screen, then one, it's an avatar that's not really customized. Your audio probably isn't that great. On top of that, not everyone has a mic, so you might not even be talking. it's kind of whatever. But in VR, it can be a bit more because you're dealing with body language, and you're dealing with like it also really depends on the game. I feel like Zenith for some people can fall into a gray area, but like for instance Horizon Worlds, if Horizon Worlds gets popular like Facebook wants, or sorry, Meta wants it to be, then those avatars are meant to look more realistic. They're meant to look more like the people you are. I mean, you can obviously make them however you want, but that's kind of the intention. And if you're talking about then recording someone with an avatar that looks like them, that sounds like them, that might even have their name if it's connected to their Facebook account, that's a little bit different. And so I think it really depends where that falls.
And you know, just to use the word ethics, like when you really go into what is ethics, that's about how you act and you know, how you deal with people in a social reality. And that's one of the biggest things about the show, is that VR has this incredible social aspect to it. And so it's like, oh, you kind of have to try to learn how to respect that in the same way. And like you said, it's something about, like both of you guys said, something about VR makes it feel a lot more personal and different than any other game.
Well, yeah, because you're literally looking at the person you're talking to. You're looking someone, even if it's an animated character, you're looking them in the eyes and talking to them. If you're playing COD, you're just looking at a 3D a third-person camera over top of two characters, and you're hearing someone same volume in your headset. But
Yeah.
in VR, you're looking at someone having a conversation with them.
Sure, but I mean, is that really any different than when we've had these other jumps in technology, like going, you know, to the phone, and then going to where we had AOL and chat rooms where people were all in there talking and communicating, and that was different. It just keeps evolving to a certain level of, you know, it's just the next level of communication. And early on, it's going to be uncomfortable regardless, because it's a new way of communicating. So people are going to not know whether to be themselves, or to be this character they created for themselves, or how to act on this thing, because it's not exactly been decided culturally on how to deal with this. But I can tell you this: when it comes to the recording, I feel like it's almost a non-issue as far as what you can do, because basically, once Oculus came up with having the single touch button on every single headset, where you can immediately start recording anything you're seeing at any given time, you more or less have to work backwards from that, unless they're going to totally change that, or the ability to record. Until they change that, I think basically everybody has to understand that it's a public platform. Like me and Sermato were talking about earlier, it's a public platform, and anybody can be recording at any time. And
So there's no reasonable expectation of privacy.
There is
So
no
I don't think
reason
it's a
public.
legality issue. I think that it's like Buddha was saying, an ethical issue. I don't think that it's wrong in the sense
but
that
you
you
want
should
to
get in
teach
trouble
kids
for it.
ethics? There's people using this thing as a babysitter. You're
I'm
not
not
just gonna be
talking
able to go
about
around.
I'm not talking about what other people should do. I'm asking, like, how do we feel about it ourselves? Like, if you're talking about, like, should we have to go out and police people and be like, you shouldn't be recording right now, that person doesn't want that to happen? No, I think that's ridiculous. That's not my job. I don't have time for that. But like, if it comes to me, like, should I be doing that? And that's where it comes to like the personal ethics thing. Like, do we feel like that's a non-issue? And if it
So
still is, I feel like that's a different question though.
if I were to treat it like the golden rule, treat other people how I want or expect to be treated, I don't expect to be having privacy when I'm playing VR on a public server. It's a public server. It's like you're going into a grocery store or something. You can't just do whatever you want in a grocery store. If you're doing something inappropriate, somebody's going to walk by, catch you on camera, and put it up on Facebook. You know, and not to mention the fact that you're wearing a Facebook helmet. They can see everything you're doing at all times and record it. It's in the URLA probably.
You've got 4
But there's
cameras on your face at all times.
Well, and in the grocery store, there's consequences for what you do. So you're more likely to act like a human in the grocery store. When
Sure,
you're gaming, as we've seen in the last 20 years of online gaming, you have a tendency to become the worst version of yourself.
People take
And
on
as we're
pseudo
moving-
personalities.
But
Yeah,
but to go back to what Link Tank hit on last week when we ended streaming and he joined us when we weren't streaming anymore, he said, you've got 4 cameras on your face and you sign an end user license agreement that says we are constantly recording everything you do and you have no privacy. They know what my room looks like. They know when I'm yelling at my ferrets. They know when I disagree with what somebody said in Zenith. They know when I made a dick joke. So if you want your privacy, then don't play VR. Take it somewhere else. Go dance naked in the street because that's as much privacy as you get.
Well,
So-
you
I
also
understand.
have a
Oh,
Facebook
go ahead,
account.
Zay. Go ahead, Zay.
You have a Facebook account. When you have a Facebook account, there is really no privacy towards Facebook because Facebook in the back end has all of your information, all your pictures, all your posts. They keep that forever. You cannot get rid of anything off of Facebook. So again, here you are on, if you're on a quest, but that right there,
That's why
you've
it's
already given up
ridiculous.
your privacy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous to even be concerned about it if
Yeah,
you're
it really
already on
is.
Facebook.
It really is.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
And-
you know what? Like as a courtesy thing, like I came up with an idea earlier. I was thinking about what if it was incumbent on the creators of these games to create some sort of a mechanism that would make people aware if somebody is recording. Like if I'm
Just a big
recording,
red
a little
circle.
light goes next to my name or something like
Yeah.
that. Like that way people understand what's going
yeah.
on.
That would work
That's a
for
good
in-game
idea.
stuff, but there's workarounds. People would find
That's true.
workarounds if
That's
they
true.
found backlash to that.
And to say,
I mean, it would solve the lazy, the casual.
The lazy and honest
you know,
people would definitely be.
exactly.
cut
At
out.
least it would be there. You would know it for the most part. Of course, people are going to get around.
yeah,
The tough thing for me in all this, because one, I agree 100%. It's a public space. You're on the server. You shouldn't have any reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
The problem is it feels real. Like one of the direct issues that was brought up is we have people that are having personal conversations with their friends. It's like if you go to the mall and you've got 2 girls talking about the boys that they want to date that weekend, and you just walk up to them with your phone and you're just recording them.
and that's
You can have party
Bowling-
voice chat. You can
Yeah.
party up with
Okay.
somebody if you want to have a private chat, and you can
And Bowling-
literally make it where somebody can stand right next to you and not hear a word you're saying. I mean,
So
that
so
is
cone
true.
of silence. That's
yeah.
and
I mean,
really though, it's a good point. But again, like as we're talking about, the big thing about VR is this social world. This
Yeah.
you're out there,
It
you're
should be
talking to
easier to go
strangers,
between
you're
them.
making friends. And so it's really difficult to sit there and go, wait, no, let's party up, let's go into party chat because I want to tell you this fun story about
Yeah.
last night.
Yeah,
and
and
it's
so I
Versus
think
you're standing
that-
5 feet from me and I'm just going to tell you the
Right.
story.
So I think what I really want to drive home on is, if I can have the talking stick, is I hear both Stormaldo and Boneley's points here very strongly that there is not a reasonable expectation of privacy, but this is where I want to deviate from that and make kind of my own point, which is that you're basing that just based on what you had, insinuated there. You go into a grocery store, you're a public space, and that's, that's the tactile real world. We have, as a society, an opportunity while creating a new world, a metaverse, where we can decide, do we want that or do we not want that? We're still early on enough to where we can say, do we want to be somewhere where we feel like we're always being recorded? Because we're early on enough to where we as a community could say, no, we don't want that. And if we don't care, we don't care. But we have an opportunity to change that before it becomes status quo.
and yes, and that's kind of a very, as Boney said, technology. There's been different jumps, but some of those jumps in technology, it wasn't always assumed that you could be being recorded. Of course, computers, there are workarounds. And and cell phones just weren't always around, and that recording everything is somewhat of a new phenomenon in the world. And so, as Kitty was saying, that it feels so real in VR that there is something that almost feels intrusive. But again, of course, it's just normal. But it does feel like that. So it just feels like something to talk about, and I like that. I like we're all talking about the different angles of it. It's something that it's a conversation that should be had.
And that's kind of where I feel like we have these feelings, but it ultimately comes up to developers where,
Yep.
right now Meta Facebook, whatever we're going to call them, there's a literal lawsuit against them right now for digital rape, where someone's in the metaverse or venues or whatever they were in, and someone made them really uncomfortable. And, it's one of the immersion is one of the great things about VR, but it's also one of the really hard things to figure out how we treat it. Because, if you feel like you're there and someone makes you uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good. Now, realistically, it's an avatar. It's nothing that's important. It really didn't happen. But again, we're talking immersion, and it's a totally different experience, And again, I don't have a platform to talk on because I've never experienced being sexually catcalled or anything like that. It's one of my sad points in life. But I know, I see it all the time with my wife, where they're out in the real world. She doesn't have an expectation of privacy because people are talking to her. Guys come up to her when we're out drinking. It's always just existing is too much. And so I definitely get the point that when you go into this immersive space, developers need to be thinking of solutions to make sure people feel safe. And again, it's silly because I feel like it's a dumb thing to say, but I also realize that people have feelings and feelings are valid. And
So
yeah,
I'm sorry. I
It's okay.
100% agree. And I think that my point stems from VR does not have its eyes set just on gaming. Gaming is almost like a side thought for the VR industry. VR is meant to be much bigger, and that's why they keep calling it as the metaverse. And the thing about it is that gaming is where it's kind of getting its foothold. But it's not the intentions for the future of VR. VR is meant to be your workspace. It's meant to be your place of social interaction. It's just not quite there yet. But if you look at like roadmaps for companies that are developing, like Meta, that's what they're anticipating this becoming. So the
I don't
ground
want to live
rules
in
are
the
kind of being
Matrix. I
set
like it in
now.
game world, man. I like it in game world because that's really where it crosses a line for me. I don't want to live in it. I don't, I'm not trying to spend 24 hours in VR world like all the time. Like, I still want to go out and interact with the actual world too. That's why I like it in the gaming space. But I tell you this, in the recording space, it's a very much a double-edged sword because you have a situation where um, even though the recording can make people uncomfortable in certain situations, or you can catch these personal moments, or it can feel invasive, it's also the driving mechanism behind what is going to interest people to get into it in general. Because if you're not experiencing it, the only way to get anybody excited about it or to get anybody into it is to see these interactions. And not just seeing a game, but actually seeing people interacting with it, doing it. I mean, I think I brought up the Awakened Coast thing, but watching that gameplay, watching what they were doing, I mean, that's what draws people into the experience. So they need the recording around. And some of the recording has to feel natural. You know what I mean? And so it can be a double-edged sword in that fact because it's really going to drive the industry to people that don't know about VR. They're going to see this content and think, wow, that would be interesting to try out. So I don't know if you can totally get rid of it.
Could they do something as far as, like you went to AOL days and all that other stuff. You went into chats and that with the understanding that it was PG-13 or it was over 18. It I don't know. To me, you kind of have to understand that you're always going to have that one, possibly have that one instance where somebody makes you uncomfortable, says something you don't like. You kind of have to put your big girl panties on and suck it up. Either you log, you block, or go on about your business. There's enough. They've added so many different tools in there to kind of help you with that. But I don't know. I don't know how you would block that. What do you got to say?
that should not be an expectation because like I've been trying to introduce my girlfriend to VR and show her the ropes, and every single time I try to show her how to do something, here comes 4 dudes from out of nowhere wanting to mansplain my girlfriend, and I have to
we
teach her
had
how
that
to
same thing.
block and get rid of this guy, and it's toxic. And I feel like as a society, we need to understand each other's boundaries. We need to respect other human beings. We need to stop relying on these wide assumptions that like man knows best, and fucking move on away from this like toxic masculinity that like dominates our society. We need to just
Oh, slow down, bro. Slow
It is
down.
dominating, but at the same time, because our society is so toxic, we have to
Yeah.
learn how to deal with that in the easiest way possible. Her and I got stopped by dudes all the time. They were like, "Oh, are you twins? That's sexy as hell." Like, like come on now, just the idea. But it was kind of like at first it was uncomfortable for her. She would take off running, and I mean, we run into it just like I think, only wasn't it you and I? And that guy was sitting there talking about black folks and being
Yeah.
kind of
But you know what? Like I said, we have a tendency to focus on these negativities. We've also all come together in a really positive way recently,
Yeah,
and
we
we're able
have.
to put a show together in like a week and have all these positive interactions. And we tend to, as a society, focus on these little negative things and have them exponentially put in our faces if this is what's going on overall. But in general, like, masculine, that's cool for me. Like, I want people to be men because it's important for people to be men in general. And I think that, that's fine. But I feel a lot more of this is positive than negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, there's a lot of positive.
Let's avoid that topic entirely. I don't want to get into that. We're about VR, and feelings that way are going to get really strong.
Yes.
And like you said, we're all really different people, and this has all brought us together.
Yes, and that's,
And,
that's the important part.
Positive, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, on that note, it's 10 o'clock.
What a great way to end the show.
What a great way to end. So instead of ending on that,
oh my gosh.
All right, so we've really opened up a can of worms, and the guild's about to split. So I'm sorry, guys, we're done.
Disband.
I think it's a really important conversation that really does need to happen, and not between us because we're just a bunch of assholes playing a video game. But it's something that's really important as VR is moving forward that these developers are thinking about. Because if you're making a stupid game, who cares? But they're making experiences. They're making, this content that we are spending 8 hours in a day, which is ridiculous. And so I think, we really hit a lot of good things for us to think about. And hopefully at some point, more than 4 people see this and they understand that, there's a whole lot of stuff that people will feel strongly about and want to experience safely and comfortably and not have to deal with 5 guys telling their girlfriend how to swing a sword. Because again, I'm right there with you, like trying to get my wife in. She hadn't even talked to the first quest giver, and guys are telling her what to do.
Yeah, I was wise about this. I put her straight into party chat when I put my wife in VR. She's like, "You don't want me to talk to anyone?" I was like, "You don't understand the community.
You don't understand." I don't mean to be like the guy. I don't mean to be the hate monger. I feel like this is a whole new situation.
It is.
And I feel like we just kind of need to respect each other's boundaries in the whole new situation.
She was trying to learn how to play the game, and before I was like, "This is how you pick up your guns," or this. I was like, "You press the menu button." Oh, this is now just go party chat. Okay, now we can start learning how to play the game.
You can't asshole proof the world. There's just always a bigger, better asshole.
But here we are trying to lessen that assholiness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just avoid them. You get away from them.
Yeah, the mutant block button for now.
And show her how to play Halo.
There is an off button. It's like right about here, and you can go back to the real world, which is so much better than the virtual world.
Blasphemy.
But
says the otter.
It's okay, but seriously, some nights it's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to talk myself into taking the headset off because I'm like, what am I doing? Like we're underneath.
With you.
Wait, no, we're not underneath the map anywhere, but we're somewhere in the game and we're just talking and we're not talking about anything important. Like, what are we doing? 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's one of the really important things about VR and the social aspect and us all hanging out, enjoying each other's company. You know, it's been a wonderful experience, and I'm really glad we all managed to find each other somehow because this has just been wonderful.
I have to say I appreciate it. Outside of work, this is honestly the most I've socialized, and more
At least in
The last
2 years. At least in 2 years, yeah.
But before that, I was a hermit all of my life. I've been a hermit, and
Me too. Hermits unite.
I've completely just left groups of friends, burned bridges, and all that shit. And it's just something about this is actually, while it is sometimes not fun and there are assholes all over the place, it's also ended up being a place where I feel the safest to socialize. And so it really, I really appreciate it. I thank all of you peoples.
There you go.
And
I love all of you guys, and I'm really glad we found
appreciate
each
you
other.
sharing that, Buddha.
Thanks for having me on tonight, by the way.
I'm manly.
Yeah, thanks.
No.
Thanks for showing up on the stream, Link. It was fun having you chat last week. And to that point, anyone that has watched these, if you'd ever like to join us up here talking and chatting with us, we do have an open invitation for people. We are limited to 9 people, I think. So, we have space to chat. If you're cool, that is one thing. I mean, if you're obviously not a good fit, we're going to kick you off the stream and make fun of you. But for the most
We'll
part,
make fun of you on stream.
I mean, the VR bullies. But
let the otters talk to you. Just leave
moving,
it up to the otters.
You ought to be
moving
ready for these
forward.
kisses.
Oh my god!
Really just do a puppy.
Moving forward from
You did
here,
not just do that.
He did a punny. And he's laughing. Is he laughing?
No, he would have to switch to the toilet, and then we would have to start talking.
but moving forward from here, we do have a lot of exciting plans for the stream, for the content we're wanting to produce, for the things we're wanting to do. Right now, everything is still early on, but I mean, coming up very shortly, we've got this racing program that Bonley's wanting to put together. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're talking about, an entire season of racing with some high stakes prizes at the end. Well, the $30 game, but that's still really cool to have something you can win. And if you're interested in joining up with that, find the link to our Discord. I'm going to try to get it into the videos that are on here, so you can get into our Discord and get signed up.
Toy. I have the same one.
And get signed up for this Crimson Racing League, because that will be fun. And then beyond that, we're working on producing content, having fun things to watch throughout the week. We've talked about doing like TikTok videos and tutorials. So please give us as much free advice as you want to give us on the things that you'd like to see us do from here. Because really, I mean, we want to just focus on VR as a whole. Believe it or not, this isn't a Zenith podcast. It just happens to be the thing we all have in common.
I think we just all kind of got stuck on
it. And a big thing, we want to incorporate you more. Thank you to all the viewers and commenters. Thanks for your comments. We did it a little bit, but we'll get more and more. We just been
Thank
more.
you, Siberian, for saying that we did a great episode. You're a great viewer.
I haven't even had chat on for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
we'll get better. This is only our second time.
He's over here just being a jerk.
This is only our second time.
But yeah,
we want to incorporate all of our viewers and
commenters. One thing we learned last week is it's really hard for us to have an on-topic conversation when we had chat on screen. And we love the comments. We really want to riff off of you guys and have you guys riffing off of us. But it's also really hard to get through a single topic while we were doing that. So I think, moving on, we'll have maybe break points where we have chat on and we're just talking about what you guys want to talk about. And then we'll move to another segment where we have a more detailed conversation. And from here on out, we'll also make sure to try to stay away from political ideals and anything like that, because no one wants to watch that. It's not fun. But there's other channels out there where you can listen to people that think the same thing you do. But us, we're thinking about VR and having fun and making this a fun place to be.
And if you don't agree with our VR ideas, then we're going to make our own political party.
That's just VR. We stay inside. That's going to be our motto.
Live in virtual reality.
The Soviet metaverse.
Oh my gosh! When you said meta, I instantly looked up.
Huh?
So, anyways, thank you guys so much for showing up to the stream to watch. Thank you guys for showing up to host this and have fun with me, because this has been, the best month of my probably life. I don't know, but
How
definitely the
did you
last 2
figure
years.
that out? What the?
Like, wait, what is? Oh, he's got a tail.
Are you doing
I
this?
would
Oh
know
my
why.
god!
Real life. Like,
I
what if
saw.
Can you keep it out of the
You just
gutter?
figured out how to jump in
I'm
the
not even
landfill.
trying.
End the stream now.
Just end it.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
the end.
thanks,
That's the
thanks
end.
everybody. Thank you guys for
How to
being
jump
here,
in.
and we will see you next week, 8:30
Next
Central,
Wednesday.
and we'll be here. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.